All right. Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. Let's see. We got this going. Great. We got a couple people in. We're going to have like 1 minute, and then we're going to kick off real quick. How is you guys' week going? Do you have any wins this week? Any losses this week? Any breakthroughs this week? What happened? All right, let's pull this up. We have a ton of copy to get through. I think we have 14 different submissions. So we're going to try to be as efficient as possible with these, but this may take a while. We just drop a link real quick to the stream in Discord, and we'll be good to go. There. Here. All right. Let's okay. Yeah. Hound points out I've just been working my way through the big course. It's been full of aha moments. I am so happy to hear that. I got to say, we were super excited to finally release this. We've been sitting on it for, I guess, months at this point, just going through the editing process, just cutting stuff down, adding stuff in, seeing it like slowly come together. And so it's been super exciting to not only have it out in the world, but see how useful it's been for you guys. So yeah, thanks. Has anyone else actually managed to finish it yet, or are we all still just making our way through it slowly? All right. I guess we'll hop into it while, oops. Okay. Yeah, so let's just jump to our first piece of copy. This one is from, let me see real quick. This first one is from No, who posted literally the second that Sean announced this Whetstone Wednesday. We have an ecom landing page. Sorry, one sec. Yep. We have an ecom landing page from Mr. No. His reader is serious keepers who want to be the hero of the match. So I assume you're talking about soccer. The idea is that after reviewing hundreds of gloves, making 1,035 plus videos on goalkeeping, gaining a ton of followers, teaching hundreds of pro keepers, this person finally discovered how to make pro level gloves with crazy grip that don't cost an arm and a leg. Cool. And the offer is goalkeeper gloves that have pro like quality at a fraction of the price. And the action is to add to cart / buy the gloves. Most of the traffic is going to be coming from social media sources. So this guy's a YouTube channel, IG page, current landing page. Let's take a quick look. Can you guys see what's on my screen? Let me just reshare this real quick. Present. Sorry, I was getting an error on my side, so let me just reshare this real quick just to make sure that everyone can see it. All right, cool. Great. Let me know if you guys have any issues with what's on screen. So just a generic page, buy the gloves. Cool. You love to see it. Very pretty. All right, so the actual copy, 4 different headline variations. So the official ARS goalkeeping gloves by Alberto Ruiz, little Instagram tick. The new Atlas goalkeeper gloves, so comfortable you'll forget you're wearing them. Affordable, high-quality gloves with hybrid cut and a second skin fit so you never get distracted during games. Shop now and be the hero of the match. A little testimonial. Okay. I don't like this one a ton. There's nothing inherently terrible about it, but so comfortable you'll forget you're wearing them does not feel to me like what a keeper is thinking about in the middle of a match, or even when buying gloves. I know comfort is a big deal, but things like grip, things like feeling like you're going to get the right touch on the ball when it comes at you is probably going to be a much bigger concern. And so this feels like a secondary, tertiary kind of thing that you would want to throw in, but not really want to hero through your headline. Next is get the official ARS goalkeeping gloves by Alberto Ruiz. After teaching hundreds of pro keepers for 15 years and making this many videos, analyzing hundreds of gloves, I finally discovered the secret behind affordable gloves with reliable grip, comfortability, and long-lasting quality. So I created these gloves. This part is definitely unnecessary because we know he made these already without you saying this. This is a really interesting headline to me because while it doesn't directly address like benefits or the primary like reason for these gloves being created and being sold, it is just purely hinging off of the social credibility of this guy. And so if this guy is really, really famous in his community or, you know, in any community, this could be a really effective headline, even though it's not getting at those the benefits that we would normally try to like champion through a headline complex like this. As for the subcopy, I think it's okay. When you're talking about, because this headline is effectively in the third person, you would never say, for example, get the official gloves by me. We are talking about Alberto Ruiz here. When you get into the subcopy and then it's in the first person, him saying, "Oh, I finally discovered the secret," it reads as a little clunky. So I think reframing this to be in the third person would make it sound a little bit, one, more coherent, and two, when you're talking about someone's credibility, talking about them as opposed to trying to speak to your own credibility tends to sound more authoritative. And so I think that'll work a little bit better. Same thing, CTA, great. The new Atlas gloves dominate every ball and unlock unbreakable confidence. Elite quality at an affordable price, so you never second guess yourself again when saving a shot or catching a cross. It's okay. I like the idea of dominating every ball. Unlocking unbreakable confidence feels like, yes, one, I'll say it's kind of generic for pretty much every product in almost every situation. We could speak to the confidence that having something nice, something good, high quality gives you. And so talking about how these gloves unlock unbreakable confidence feels kind of cheap. And so I would shy away from that, or I would try to reframe that if you think that that's something that's really special about this product. It is also a different idea than dominate every ball. And so you're trying to speak to two things at the same time, when I think that one is good enough. We often talk about the rule of one. And so I would say to keep that in mind when you're writing your headlines as well. There may be a way in which you can think about dominance as also including some of that confidence. And so maybe this is something that you speak to later on in the copy, but you're not presenting as like a primary benefit of having this product. Most keepers I know are insane and are going to go for every ball regardless. And so they probably don't need the unbreakable confidence. There are probably other things that they're looking for. On a similar note, the second guessing yourself piece of this, I imagine could be a concern for some goalkeepers. However, I don't know. to me, in my personal opinion, having a new pair of gloves is not going to be the thing that is the difference maker in whether or not you go out to contest a cross or not. So if you really believe that that's the case, then maybe include that. But in my personal experience, that's not the thing. And so I would cut this out and either replace with something else or just keep it simple as it is. And hello, Jonathan. Finally, we have the new Atlas gloves, second skin fit and pro level grip without breaking the bank. After teaching hundreds of pro keepers for 15 years and making 1,035 plus videos analyzing hundreds of gloves, I finally discovered the secret behind affordable gloves with reliable grip, comfortability, would you say comfort, and long-lasting quality. So I created these gloves. This is interesting to me. To kind of compare, this works for me a lot better than this one. So instead of saying so comfortable, the idea of a second skin fit is way more interesting to me. I think you get the comfort piece of that baked in, but it almost sounds like a unique mechanism that these gloves have. And so there's something special about them if they have a second skin fit that probably most other gloves are not talking about or hinging on. And so that's going to set your product apart a little bit. Pro level grip without breaking the bank is cool. I feel like the without breaking the bank piece of it is maybe a trap, but it really depends on who your target audience is. Because if your audience are serious goalkeepers, then they're already spending money on products. They're willing to shell out, $100+ for a good pair of gloves that's going to last them a minute. And so the breaking the bank part is probably not their primary consideration. In the same way that people who are serious don't mind shelling out, $300+ for a pair of boots. People care less about breaking the bank than they care about doing well on the pitch. So there are probably ways of saying this, like, pro level grip, accessible to like amateur athletes or whatever. Talk about this in terms of like access, like, oh, this is now available to you. Whereas it may be available to Premier League, or this quality of glove would only be available to like Premier League goalkeepers or something in the past. But now because of this guy, that same technology, those same benefits are available to you. I think is a better way of approaching that than just saying, oh, it's cheap or it's inexpensive. Thinking about this sub copy a little bit more too, definitely cut this from 1,030 or 35 plus, just 1,000 plus videos. This is clunky every single time I read it. And so if I'm stumbling over it as I am reading it to a stream, it's not going to flow naturally to somebody who's just reading it on their own. And I would question a little bit, just like factually, is there really a secret behind affordable gloves with reliable grip, or is it something else? Because when you say secret, I'm expecting like a big reveal. I'm expecting some crazy technology, and I wonder how well you're gonna be able to deliver on that promise that you're making when you say secret in the rest of the copy. But you probably don't need to make that promise in order to sell these things if this guy has this huge following. So, just keep that in mind. We have the rest of the page. Cool. All these people are using them. All these features. Love this. There's probably some tiny like kind of touch-ups you could make with some of the copy here. For example, like instead of saying when catching any shot across, I would say contesting. This is cool. Keepers of all levels. The pricing makes sense. Yeah, I would just tone it down like a little bit, because the feeling I get is that from like what you have here, the way you're talking about it, like how big his audience is, you probably don't need to like go super, super hard in terms of like the promises and selling. It's more of a, hey, this is here, this is cool, it's for you. Then there's this crazy secret behind this thing that you've never heard of that I just discovered. It's like, no, this guy has tons of experience. He's trained all these goalkeepers, and he's bringing a product to you that is right for you, both in terms of price point and in terms of performance. So after teaching hundreds of pro keepers for a decade and a half, and reviewing 1,000+ videos on goalkeeping, making 1,000+ videos and reviewing hundreds of gloves, I discovered one big problem. These things are unaffordable. Instead, they use cheap gloves. Probably a chance of going pro, making big leagues. So I think this is interesting. This starts strong. So it's like, okay, these high quality, super whatever gloves are not affordable when you're starting off. So instead you use cheaper gloves. When you're talking about like making them concede foolish goals, I would talk about how that happens. Is it, they block a shot, but it doesn't stick in their hand, and so it bounces off? Is it there is enough grip, and so when they go to push tip a ball over the crossbar, it's not actually sticking enough to get it over, and so it just like slips over their finger into the goal. Getting more specific there is going to be great, both in terms of credibility, in terms of like helping the reader visualize how the product is going to be useful, all that stuff. Then I think this stuff, like it's the product's fault you're not going pro, is a little much. Like, if we're being honest, the difference between someone going pro or not is not going to be the gloves they have. It's going to be a million different things. There may be a goal in a game that looks bad or something on them, but like, it's not really the gloves. And so if you're talking to people who are serious, if you're talking to people who understand what it takes to go pro, saying stuff like this diminishes your credibility a little bit, because it's a little bit like a loser mentality. If you're going out there like, oh, if only I had better boots, if only I had a better gloves, if only I had better this, that, or whatever, I would have made it. That's not how winners think. And so if you're trying to sell to these people who you think are very serious, who are kind of already on their way, you don't want to signal things like this, because these are not things that these people are actually going to believe. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to align with your reader's notions. But like using, like, I think the idea of like, hey, this stuff sucks. No keeper should have to, and maybe you could talk about in terms of like the honor or perception or whatever. Like, no keeper should have to endure the shame of conceding a goal because their glove wasn't sticky enough and the ball like slipped past their fingers when they had it. Like, you basically had to save, but your glove sucked, and so whatever. And then you look at your team like, fuck, I'm sorry, but it wasn't your fault. It was your glove sucked. Like, I think that's a reasonable thing to speak to, because pretty much every keeper at every level has experienced something like that. And it's a terrible moment. And it still leads you into, so I use all of my experience to make these affordable gloves that provide like all these benefits that like professional gloves do. Bam. Did all the stuff. Great. World CTA, command the box. Cool. Easy to put on. Secure. High quality materials. Keeps your hands cool. Cool. Extended palm for extra grip. Great. Testimonials. Great. Best ring gloves. Cool. I like it. Good stuff. I think just tone down some of the stuff we talked about in here. But otherwise, it's good. It's pretty good. Next, we have a landing page for flow time. Who is this from? This is from, hold please, from Emmanuel, who will not be able to watch the live stream, but has some context in here. Cool. So it's a landing page for an AI-powered productivity platform for teams, not a real product, but based on a concept similar to one used by other SaaS companies. The reader are team leaders, project managers, and CTOs and hybrid teams. The idea is to get an extra day every week by automating task prioritization, time tracking, and resource allocation. The offer is to get access to a free plan with these essential functionalities, and the action you want them to take is to sign up. Cool. These people are problem/solution aware. So get an extra day. Okay, landing page. Cool. So get an extra day every week. Automate task scheduling, resource allocation, and deadline alerts, freeing up 20% of your team's time. A little button, get started for free. There's an image, an overview. 5,000 plus teams get an extra day using flow time, so you have some cred. Little testimonial. Flow time is like hiring a project manager who works 24/7. Someone from Spotify. We love that. So why teams choose us? Software dev teams love that they can ship features 30% faster. Marketing agencies, they cut missed deadlines by 80% in 2 months. Healthcare orgs save 15 hours a week on admin coordination. And remote startups finally sync priorities across 4 time zones. This is pretty cool. Just calling out specific use cases that would be clunky just to kind of write into a paragraph, but by splitting it out into, if you're this type of company, here's what you're going to get. If you're this type of company, here's what you're going to get. But also having all of those things, all of those benefits appeal to each of those organizations, get you some cool specialization in your copy or specificity, while also being able to speak broadly to ways that the product would possibly benefit any type of consumer. So that's a cool little trick. So how does it work? Does ROI tracking, these dashboards show hours saved, deadlines met, and even how much money you're saving, time saved, time proven. Adaptive AI, meetings run late and tasks start piling up. Flow time fixes it. Auto-adjusting priorities when plans change. Early warning system, spot delays 3 days in advance, a weather forecast for your project. This is a really cool little metaphor. Love that. One-click integration. They plug in all these things you're using. And setting up flow time takes less than a team meeting. Would definitely add a period there. And I would say like takes less time, just to be specific. Just because it could take less energy, it could take less bandwidth. Whatever you want this word to be, just have a word here, just so people are clear about what you mean when you're saying that. Because you could be speaking to ease, you could be speaking to time saved. Yeah. So, connect your tools, let AI do the work, see results, flows. Another little CTA, we love it. We've got your back. You have enterprise grade security, 24/7 support, 99.9% uptime, advanced high availability and disaster recovery you can trust. I don't know exactly what this means, but if this is something that people are going to understand, then sure. 99.9% uptime is actually a little bit scary to me, though, because that sounds like it's not 100%. And so the difference between 100% and 99.9% is a lot different than the difference between 89.9% and 90%, if you know what I mean. Like, when you say it's 99.9%, you're telling me there's a chance that it's not up, and that's a lot scarier than like it being up most of the time, but then sometimes, yeah. So I would think about if you really need to say this, or if there's like a better way of saying this. Like, just because you don't really want to signal to companies that, oh, sometimes we're going to have down days, or there's going to be times where you're not going to be able to rely on us. And if that time aligns with the time where you're having a crisis internally, or you really need to depend on this software, like you're not going to be able to depend on it. And so that's like actually a pretty big red flag that you might actually accidentally be sending out there. So this is not like the biggest deal in the world, but I would definitely strongly consider reframing this, especially if the benefit of the 99.9% is disaster recovery. Because if the disaster is happening in that 0.01% of the time, then that's going to be incredibly costly for the organization you're serving. So just be mindful of that. And then final little CTA, get started saving up to 20% of time. You say 20% anywhere else? Yeah, you do at the top. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty solid. Would love to see this kind of wireframed out. I know you said that you did this, but I didn't see you link it anywhere unless it's, hold please. Someone linked to Figma. Okay, now it's a different person. Yeah, I would love to see this like actually like wireframed out on like an actual design page a little bit, even if it's like incredibly clunky. Because right now it looks solid enough, but once you start putting on the page, if it might look bloated, cluttered. I think it's time to take that next step. But yeah, good stuff overall. All right. Next we have something from Nana. This is a homepage for the hospitality niche, targeted travelers. And this is a spec piece that they would like to put into their portfolio. And their question is there any funnel or marketing strategy to effectively increase direct bookings for the hospitality niche? Almost certainly. The answer is yes. But let's kind of take a look at this and then talk. So the target audience are travelers planning to visit Kuala Lumpur who want a comfortable, hassle-free place to stay after a long day of exploring. Current struggles. There's a rise in scams involving homestays and Airbnbs. Issues with cleanliness, sudden cancellations, bad room assignments, booking problems, hidden fees. Okay. Desires a clean, comfortable place to stay. A clear, responsive communication with the host. Trust signals that reduce fear of being scammed. And so their approach was to build immediate trust through this hero section by directly addressing concerns, make the booking process straightforward with clearly separated sections for guests and homeowners. Here's the website of one of the prospects I would like to reach out to regarding their website. Okay, so let's see. Homestay with character. Book now. Homestay. Okay, so this is basically like what you're talking about. So unique design. Okay, cool. Let's actually just click that real quick. What does it say for guests? Okay, dual key, privacy. Okay, cool. So let's just get into it and see. Actually, you have it wireframed out. Great. Let's just do it this way. What book would I recommend for writing better newsletter copy? I would not recommend any books for that. I would recommend signing up for a variety of newsletters and just setting them, kind of thinking about what's working, what's not working. I feel like in the Discord server, there are probably some links to like newsletters that people have posted in the, what's it called? The Copy We Like channel up under public chats. But if there aren't, definitely just ask around. Sean has lots and lots and lots of newsletters that he's looked at over the years. But really the biggest thing is just like get a sense of what people are sending, so you have an idea of what people are receiving in their inboxes, so you understand, hey, this is what the average person's getting, this is what they might hate reading, this is what might be working. And definitely make sure that you are doing that within the niche that you're trying to target. And so, for example, if you want to write a financial newsletter copy, definitely don't spend all your time reading e-com newsletter copy. Go sign up for some financial stuff, and we'll be happy to send you things. Sierra, I just want you to know that I forgive you. It's no problem whatsoever. Invisible wants to know, how do you submit your copy for review? If you would like your copy reviewed, you can go to patreon.com/thecopythatshow and sign up. Everyone who's submitted their copy today is part of Patreon, and when you sign up, you get access to submitting your copy for these weekly streams. So consider that. But if you don't want to do that, that's also completely fine. We still love you. But yeah, let's get into this. I will say the way that this has been, I know you're like, this is not how you would actually design it, but like, do be mindful of like what stuff looks like. And so this looks like a website from like 1998, just in terms of like the buttons and the colors and stuff like that. So just, do be mindful. If you were to show this to like put this in your portfolio, do take a little bit more time to buff this up so that it looks a little bit more modern, because that might be something that someone might judge you on, even if that's not what you're trying to showcase. So just keep that in your head. So we get to the website, key.bnb, little banner saying there's a discount for guests for homeowners. I do think that if you're going to do this and it's targeted at travelers, don't do this thing where you're doing for both guests and for homeowners. Also, homeowners is misspelled here, but like just do one site for guests and have that be it. So X this out, just focus on the guest part of it. You can have these little filters at the top. Actually, I wouldn't even do this first. Do this part first. So like the kind of booking thing you would see on an Airbnb, have your little headline, comfort at day's end. No hidden fees, no surprise cancellations, just a safe and cozy stay you can count on every time. I honestly don't love this comfort angle this comfort angle as like the primary thing, because if I am traveling to Kuala Lumpur and I am not from the region, I'm not looking for a place to stay at like the end of a long day. I'm looking for somewhere just like to stay, like a home while I'm on vacation or while I'm traveling. And so it's not about at day's end. It's just like a safe place to keep my stuff. It's a safe place to return to. It's like my home, my home base while I'm there. And maybe on the better end of that scale, it's a place where I'm enjoying my time while I'm in this new city. And so it's not like a place just to lay down. It is, it's more than that. And so I would lean away from this safe and cozy stay stuff, because it almost like the more you have to say, oh, this is totally safe, this place is so definitely absolutely clean, the more people are going to start to think internally, oh, I should worry about whether a place is safe. I should worry about whether a place is clean or cozy or whatever. Because if you look at the websites of like very high-end luxurious hotels or whatever, they're not advertising on cleanliness and comfort and those things because it's assumed that they have them. And while, yes, depending on price point, you are going to need to say some of those things, definitely don't. They should not be the primary selling proposition for your endeavor, regardless of where you are. And so maybe it's something like you could think, or not reliability, but like it should be something that's going to be appealing to people regardless of what price point they're booking at. and should not scare them into thinking, oh shit, I might accidentally get like a really dirty place. Let's see, what does Airbnb do? Airbnb.com. Got it. Yeah, so they don't even have like a homepage of that. Verbo, maybe? Yeah. And so like if you think about Verbo does a good job with this, where like Airbnb is the primary, is like the biggest player in this market. Verbo is now like a contender, and so they are positioning against Airbnb, and so their whole thing is like when you book, you'll have the entire place to yourself. You won't be staying with somebody else, and so the only thing they say is entire place just for you. Get into booking stuff, and then when you go down, it's okay. Here's some upfront pricing stuff, and then immediately into okay, what are opportunities? What types of places do you want? So I don't think that you need to even do all of this stuff. I would think more like when someone is going to Kuala Lumpur, what is something that they would love to have in their within their amenities? Is it air conditioning? Is it easy access to other things they love? Is it like lots of different locations within the city that they could stay at that might give them the ability to experience different parts of like the culture there locally? There are so many different angles you can run at this at, and I just don't think that comfort is going to be a winner, because honestly, if we're being real, comfort is the bare minimum. Cleanliness is the bare minimum. And while some places are not hitting that, it doesn't mean it's not the bare minimum. But let's, moving past that. So definitely bump this up. I think the idea of these buttons are cool. I would just put them under like this bit right here. I also wouldn't have these like video player buttons, but so like imagine replacing this bit here with these buttons as basically filters for people who just like to browse, family friendly, browse city apartments, browse solo travelers, whatever. All this stuff is great. I wouldn't say no fake stays ever, because again, like you shouldn't have to say that. Depending on like who your target audience is and how they engage with things, like maybe that would be okay to say, but I'm definitely thinking more like North American sensibilities. Like if I read no fake stays ever, I would be a little like, why would I even have to worry about that? So just keep that in mind. Price match guarantee, no hidden fees, partner people. Idea of a stay of the month thing is kind of cool. This is cool. Featured listing. I think explore Kuala Lumpur like locals is like great. And maybe this could even be your like your what you position around. And so do something around here like experience Kuala Lumpur like a local. Bam. Access like stay in the neighborhoods, access the neighborhoods, like get an authentic experience by staying in blah 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 places. Like that could be a cool thing to do, because I imagine not very many people are positioning that way. Cool. Yeah, also it's pretty standard. Yeah. But yeah, otherwise good. I would just mostly just rethink this stuff. If you're going to put this in your portfolio, definitely do like another pass over through the design. Canva's pretty good for that if whatever tool you're using isn't the easiest to use. But yeah, good effort. Yeah, I think that's what I was feeling too. Like comfort at day's end feels like kind of old timey, kind of not something someone who's traveling. Like no one in 2025 is saying, I just really want comfort at day's end, like. Victor says, I can write bullets, but I have a problem with writing 5 punchy sentences in a row. How do you build up a concept smoothly between the sentences to form a paragraph? What goes through your mind? Oh God, we could spend days talking about this. And if you were talking to Sean, you could spend years talking about this. There are a variety of different ways to build up a paragraph. I think it really depends on what the sentences need to do, what the paragraph needs to do in the context of the rest of your copy. If, for example, the paragraph is like coming right off of your headline at the beginning of a sales letter, the function of that paragraph is to serve as a hook and to take the momentum of the headline and get people into that sort of reading, story, whatever mode, whatever type of opening you're using, bring them in, keep them in, pull them in. So for something like that, that paragraph is going to look like very punchy sentence at the start, then some pieces that are sort of supporting that and kind of pulling them through, connecting them into like establishing the story that is going to be one, interesting, but two, that's going to that will thread through like naturally into the other pieces that you're going to need to say later. The end of that paragraph is going to be some sort of transition that tries to preserve the momentum you've established into the next topic. So it's not just about writing 5 punchy sentences. It's about thinking about what does the paragraph need to do, and in order to do that, what are like the sort of subcomponents. And so maybe one thing you could try is take a step back from the paragraph and think, okay, what does this part of the copy need to do? And then write some small beats for yourself there. That's like, okay, 1, hook the reader. 2, establish the setting. 3, pump up the stakes. 4, tease like a secret, tease what's coming next, or open a loop. And then 5 is connect to the next section, which is whatever the next section is. A thing to try. There's no one way to do this. There are probably a billion ways to do this. A lot of it is just going to be practice and feel, getting other people to read your stuff, but also going and reading the relevant sections of other types of copy that are doing what you're doing at like a high level. So if you are having a hard time writing openings, then go read copy within whatever niche that is and just see what the people there are doing, because you can just swipe that stuff. All right. Next piece of copy. This is from Kev. It's a spec piece that they sent to a prospect with their outreach. So I don't know what kind of copy this is. I'm assuming it's probably some kind of social copy because there's no headline, no subject line. Or sorry, there's no subject line. So yeah, let's say it's an Instagram post. Did you know that 1 in 3 women experience hair loss after 40? They struggle on a day-to-day basis with thinning, breakage, and the gut-wrenching thoughts of their best hair days being behind them. And they've tried everything on the market to fix it with no luck. You see, there's a reason why they don't work. And while most women don't know this, the truth is, the reason you might see 100 hairs fall out while brushing your hair is because of a sneaky condition called telogen effluvium, or TE. Simply put, it's a hair loss condition that's triggered when women go through a shock in their bodies, such as childbirth, emotional stress, hormonal changes, and vitamin deficiency. And this is why everything you've tried before misses the mark. It's because they aren't equipped to combat the root cause of hair loss, TE. To actually fight against it, you need to massively boost your vitamin intake. In particular, you need to consume a strong combination of biotin, vitamins A, a bunch of vitamins. But how could you possibly consume all of these vitamins in a way that's affordable and practical? Luckily for you, we have the solution. Introducing Weem, the miracle blend that's helped almost 15,000 women nationwide combat hair thinning and grow fuller, healthier hair. Simply tap the Shop Now button below to learn more about the 100% all-natural and vegan solution to silkier, thicker hair that you won't resist running your fingers through. Time to get your hair back, Weem. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely like some piece of social copy. Oh, Facebook ad copy. Thank you. So yeah, you're doing too much here, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So I think first things first, let's think about what are we doing with social copy. Your copy should always be trying to do one thing. And in the case of copy like this, it is to drive to your sales page where you will hopefully have someone buy your product. If the goal is to drive to the sales page, that means that the goal is not to convince the person to buy the product through this copy, which means that like you're doing a whole bunch of stuff here to really sell why this product is really good. So like basically everything from here down is extra. So first off, that if we then move from the premise that all that stuff is like unnecessary, then you have this section where it's like, okay, you're establishing a problem. Hey, 1 in 3 women experience hair loss after 40. And we're kind of agitating the problem here. And these solutions aren't working. Okay, whatever. I think better than just talking about like, hey, this problem is really hard and solutions don't work. And there's a secret, and here's the reason why they don't work. You want to establish intrigue so that people have a reason to click. Because there's a world in which someone reads what you have here and it's like, okay, so wow, I didn't know that 1 in 3 women experience hair loss. Oh wow, I didn't know that most of the market doesn't work. Oh, it's because of this TE thing, and that's triggered by things. Okay, now I'm just going to go and Google this on my own and find a different product, or compare products, and that's what you don't want, because then once they leave, they stop reading the copy and stop like clicking through your little funnel, then you've basically lost them. So what you want to do with this is establish enough intrigue around the problem and potential solutions, so that the person has an incentive to click this button down here to go to the sales page to learn about the product or learn why this product is like the one solution that's right for them. I see. So remove the bottom part and build some intrigue for exactly. And so it's like a 1-2 punch. And one thing we have to remember is that actually makes our life easier, because if all this has to do is get people to go to the sales page and all the sales page has to do is sell the product, then the jobs are much more clear. And it's much easier to write both of these things than to figure out how to like go from a problem unaware reader to a product aware reader in the span of like 1 page of copy. That's a really, really tough job, particularly on social media where there's so many more distractions. So, it's a good thing that your job here is to cut. There are a lot of ways to sort of think about building that intrigue. I think the most typical is like, really get into the problem. And I wouldn't say like, did you know that? Because someone could answer like no to that internally. I would say like 1 in 3 women will experience hair loss. And I'd say like by the time they reach 40 or something. If this is not true, obviously don't say this, but like, speaking to the certainty of the problem makes it a lot more real, makes it something that people need to grapple with if they're getting close to that age. And then instead of saying they, because if you're talking to someone and you're talking about they, it then sounds like, oh, well, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking about those other people. But when you're writing this copy, what you want is for the person you're talking to think that you're talking about them or could be talking about them. So don't use they. And so I would, change this to like, like, and that loss comes with the daily struggle and the gut-wrenching thoughts. And I wouldn't even say thoughts, like a realization. You make it more dramatic. That I don't really love the phrase best hair days, but you could use it, that your best hair days are behind you. And so now, like, you've really upped the ante here, like with just making those tweaks. It's like, 1 in 3 women is going to experience that. And if that happens to you, like, this is what your life is going to be like. You're going to be like, wake up every day, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to be like, fuck, this is terrible. And then amplify that. And so you say, okay, well, the problem is really bad. And they say, well, the solution's no better. And say, and what's worse is that almost nothing on the market can fix it, can fix it, or can fix it or solve it or whatever. And so this is really, man, this terrible thing could happen. And when it happens, it's really bad. And the worst part is that there's barely anything that can work. And then you get into, but there's a reason why. And those women are struggling. And so they're not able to see that the truth is that there is a reason why 100 reasons fall, or 100 hairs fall out of blah, blah, when you're brushing, blah, blah, blah. And then get into, hey, and these are the things that you've probably gone through that affect that. And then instead of even saying the TE part, this is where I would cut it. I'd say like, and this is where whatever you're coming off of, like, and this is why everything misses the mark. It's because they aren't equipped to combat the root cause of hair loss that no one is talking about. And maybe you could even just call it, or I wouldn't say TE here. But like you can, or I would not say intelligent effluvium. I would just say TE. And then down here, you could say they're not equipped to combat the root cause of TE. Then your call to action is like something around like, learning more, or finding out, solving the thing. But I think that is, you're building up the problem. You're building up all the troubles and stuff to get someone who cares enough about that, or who's worried about it, to be like, oh yes, I want to learn more. I want help. And I think that's a lot easier copy to write too. So yeah. This is good though. I mean, the actual like writing itself is pretty good. So I'm confident that you will be able, like, given the way you've written here, you will be able to write the better version of this. Definitely don't feel like you need to use my suggestions as is. That was just an example of how you could write this. So if you want to approach it from a different way, like, definitely go for it. Yeah, cool. Okay, this person says, please take a look at my homepage for freelancing services. Target audience, online business owners still in the early stages of getting traffic and leads, earning less than $1,000 per month. Oops. Call me West.com. Okay. Oh yeah. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I just need to keep in mind that on Facebook ad creatives, just selling a click to the page and not just focus on the solution too much. Appreciate you for that. Yes, exactly. It's the same thing in email. You are just trying to get someone to engage with your idea enough to click to the next page. Once you get into the sales page, they've already engaged that much. And so you have a lot more room to do more shit, basically. So I presume this is Wes. Stuck with your digital marketing? I help small business owners with small budgets and little expertise achieve real wins without charging you big agency fees. I'm Wesale, a digital marketer who helps small online businesses get clarity, traction, and their first real wins. You can call me Wes. On this page, you can read real testimonials from clients I've worked with, learn more about how I can help you take your small business. I can help your small business take action. Book a free 15-minute call or download the free. Okay. Cool. Results for testimonials. Okay. I feel like you have all the pieces here to do what you're trying to do. It's mostly a matter of moving them around. I actually really like this first section because you're identifying your audience in a very specific, real way. Hold on one second. Cool. And so once you kind of say this thing right here, I wouldn't put your face here. Well, actually, maybe your face is fine. If you're going to say, I help these people achieve real wins, I think that's where you go straight to, this part. After 4 months of working together, my client hit their most profitable month ever with their online business. Because it's not it's not about you at this point. It's about what you're doing. And so if you're going to make this claim that you help people achieve these real wins without doing all this crazy shit, then just jump to your credibility immediately. Then you can go to this part right here. And I would probably change it from testimonials from happy clients to real impact for, real small time or real small business owners. And then this stuff is he's super great to work with, blah, blah, blah. I would probably lead with this one, deep strategic research. Yeah, especially this one. Having a profitable online business has always been a big goal of mine. I feel like I'm closer than ever to making it work. This is a dream testimonial for your target audience. So I go this one right here first, then this one, and then this woman last, because this is less about the business results and more about the experience of working with you, which is really, really important, but probably secondary to selling somebody on your services, because they're going to care more about the results first. And then it's okay, how easy is it to work with you? So definitely this, then you do these. And then I would go into I'm Wesale, a digital marketer who helps small online businesses get clarity, traction, and their first real wins. You can call me Wes. And from there, I would jump back into this part here. What I would love to help your small business with, whether you're getting started or looking to fix what's not working. Here's where I step in. And you do all these great, important things. Blah, 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 blah. And what else are we missing? I think you really only want one call to action. And for you, it sounds like the best call to action is for someone to book a call with you. So I would say that's the only thing you should really be asking people to do on this page. If you want to link this free kit that you've made at the bottom of the page, I think that's fine. But you don't want to give people a choice between getting the free value from you and booking a call with you where you can sell them. If someone might if you're able to actually just sell them on booking the call. So I think like what you have here is like pretty strong. And so I would lean towards like just go big. And then what you can do with this like little asset you've made is you make a landing page and you can drive traffic to the landing page or link to the landing page from, whatever other places, and have that serve as a lead magnet for whatever sort of list you want to build or whatever. Because then if people sign up, then people are interested, and you can do separate outreach to them with a more targeted message. But I do think that like the pieces you have here definitely work. You're doing a really good call out, like, hey, I help people with small budgets. I have results. And look at all these people who are happy to work with me. This is like what I do very specifically. And those goals align with what you want to do. And here are all these actual like deliverables or like tasks I can help you with. So come work with me. I think that's a bread and butter, like very strong sales argument. And so I think that you have all the pieces here. There's probably a little bit of streamlining you can do with design, because like this page is like very wide, and like, I don't know what this email thing is for. Is that for this up here? So I would take another look at that and see if there's some easy stuff you can do. But I think this is a pretty good job. Okay, next. Actually, let me answer this text real quick. Hour. Okay. Cool. Okay, next piece of copy. Asking ChatGPT to give me topics to write about, target audience and tone. This would be a cool way to practice. Copies below the line. Cool. So I guess before we get into this, I would say that this is a cool time to talk about AI as like a training partner, basically. This is a fantastic way of using AI, asking it to basically prompt you to write different types of copy. Very easy. And I found that for me, coming up with like a topic or business or product to write about is really hard, because like I could write about literally anything. And in thinking about that, I'm like, oh, what should I write about? Just ask ChatGPT. It'll give you something. And even if it's something you don't like or you don't know very well, that means that you then have the opportunity to practice your research skills and learn enough to write some copy. So definitely take advantage of that. This time, the product is Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Anti-Aging Serum. The objective, craft a compelling email promoting a limited time offer for Estee Lauder's Advanced Night Repair Serum. Should highlight its benefits, create a sense of urgency, and encourage immediate purchase. Target audience, women 30 to 50. The tone is elegant, persuasive, and informative. Cool. So, yeah, okay, let's just read this first. So, for subject line 1, 7 days to reclaim that youthful skin, surprise inside. 2, reclaim that youthful shine in less than a week. 3, the skincare industry won't tell you this. I guess they're just off the bat that number 3 is not going to be it, because Estee Lauder is incredibly associated with the skincare industry. And so if I were getting an email from them that was like, oh, the skincare industry doesn't want to tell you this, I'd be like, but you are the skincare industry. So that's not going to match here. That's not going to work. I'm not a huge fan of either of the two of these. I think one thing that is important to keep in mind, but something that doesn't come up very often when we talk about writing copy, is branding. And so while, yes, these subject lines work alone, you do have to keep in mind, like, well, what is Estee Lauder stand for as a brand? What is their tone? What do they believe in? How do they show up? And my understanding of them as a brand is that they are a little bit more refined. There's a little bit more elegant. They're not a very fun brand. And so I'm not expecting them to use hyperbolic, all caps. Oh my God. They're not going to say that. I'm not expecting like a surprise inside from them. Like to me, that's more of like an Ulta, a Sephora, a more youthful brand that is speaking to a more youthful audience that is a little bit more fun and like hip with it. This first one like could work, but when I hear surprise, I almost think about like free stuff. And this does not feel like the type of brand that's going to give me free anything. And I would not expect that of them. And I would not necessarily want that of them. So I would look a little bit more, peek around like what types of messages that they send out, and make sure that whatever you're writing for them matches the marketing that they already do. Because you could write the best email in the world, but if the tone doesn't feel right for the brand, no one will ever buy it. Yeah. So we know you've tried lots of products, all promising the same thing. Other brands always promise you'll get that youthful shine you love, but never deliver on those promises. But here's where Estee Lauder is different. We deliver. Actually, we're so sure we'll get the results you want and more that we put in a special surprise. You can try our product, and if you aren't back to that look you deserve in a week of applying daily, we will refund you fully. Isn't that great? It's completely risk-free. Our advanced night repair serum is clinically proven to reduce fine lines and boost hydration in just 7 days. Our serum is trusted by experts and loved by users worldwide. That's not all. It gets even better. Right now, we're running an offer of 2 serums for the price of 1. I think we proved just how confident we are with our product. But this offer isn't for long. You have less than 12 hours to cash in on this great combo deal. What are you waiting for, gorgeous? Elevate your beauty even more today. Claim your offer. Reclaim that shine in no time. Your trusted wing woman, Estee Lauder. P.S. Join the Estee Lauder online community to get tips and tricks for looking your best and secret discounts just like this one reserved only for our members. Sign up now. Okay. Let me just check real quick because that could be out of my mind. Oops. Estee. It's a global leader in prestige beauty. What's their website look like? Fragrance, flawless your way. Kristen Bell. What's their IG look like? Yeah, I mean, so like my main thing right now is like your email's fine, but it just doesn't feel like something that they would say. Yeah, so we're proud to announce the opening of our Skin Longevity Institute at Hacienda Altagracia, Alber's Resorts Collection in Costa Rica. Located adjacent to one of the world's 5 blue zones, regions recognized for their high concentration of centenarians, Hacienda Altagracia offers a transformative journey grounded in trusted longevity practices. Anchored by more than 15 years of skin longevity research, the Estee Lauder Skin Longevity Institute at Hacienda Altagracia offers guests a uniquely immersive experience that fuses luxury renutritive skincare powered cutting-edge skin longevity science. Alongside exclusive renutritive facial treatments, estheticians will utilize the Estee Lab Skin Pro, the brand's most elevated skin diagnostic, to analyze skin and develop a customized facial protocol for guests. So like that's a little uppity, that's a little fancy. And that is Zoom. It's just not the tone that the brand uses, and so I don't even really want to say like get into the copy so much because most of the stuff is going to be like tone policing you, and that's not going to be like super useful. But I think that this is a really good lesson in like, you know, you can write the best email, you can write a pretty good email, and it's not going to work just because it's not going to align with what the brand is saying. Oh, yeah, no, that's completely fair. I completely understand. Yeah, and to be fair, I think that this is not a problem that most people here are going to run into, where you're writing for a big fancy brand that's super established and has like a very specific tone like this. So like, it's okay. But I do think that every brand or every client you're going to work with is going to have a brand or some sense about what their brand identity, what they want their brand identity to be. And so it's very important to keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the copy needs to match how the brand wants to show up. In terms of like what you wrote here, let's see. I think even if it weren't for Estee Lauder, I'd say that it is a little bit like hyperbolic. Like saying stuff like, isn't that great? It's completely risk-free is a little much. It would tone it down a bit, even if you're writing for like the Gen Z brand ever. Like, it's a lot. How can you make the copy more sophisticated, more elegant or sophisticated? We'll get to that in a second. Take care, Liam. This will be, still on YouTube, so feel free to watch later. I mean, there's a lot of ways. I think a lot of it is like wording. A lot of it is choosing what you say and what you don't say. Kind of similar to what we're talking about with the Airbnb example. Like, if you are of a certain status, you're going to talk about certain things and you're not going to talk about other things. If you are a luxury hotel, you're not going to talk about how clean your hotel is because it's assumed that your hotel is clean. So if you are a luxury hotel and you spend all your time talking about, oh yeah, it's super safe here, people are going to be like, wait, what? Like, that's not why I'm coming to your hotel. In a similar way, if we're talking about like luxury skincare products, you can talk about, unique formulas. You can talk about like the legacy and history of your brand. You're not talking about like buy one, get one free. You're not discounting your things because you're aware of the value of your brand. And so you know that you don't need to discount the things to get people to buy them. And so that's something you would not say. Yeah. Even like things like youthful shine, I've noticed like I hear way more about rejuvenating your skin than making your skin look youthful from more of these like kind of older targeted brands. Because the reality is like if you are a 60-year-old woman, you might want skin like you are 25, but you don't want to look 25. You don't want to look that way. And so the effect it has on your skin is positioned more as like bringing your skin back to life, back to what it should be, rather than making your skin what it used to be, which is a little bit of like a nuanced distinction, but is a really important one to understand. Because what they're effectively saying is that like you can be beautiful no matter what age you are. You don't have to look young to look beautiful. And if we don't understand that as writers, then it's like we're going to keep telling women, oh, you need to look like you're 25 because you were only pretty or beautiful when you were 25, which is not a good look. So yeah. Got it. So new Pope age equals 69 winky face. Love this. Great start. So context, copywriting niche, product equals masterclasses and videos to help develop copywriting skills. Possible funnel, YouTube description, Discord, etc. This sales page only has headline plus lead. Are you describing my business? So what's your opinion on putting qualifications in the lead? I didn't do that here. I ended up leaning more towards a sales layer style than a traditional sales page. Cool. Should I restructure it so I can place a CTA at the end of the lead or in the hero section, like other sales pages? Please feel free to share any feedback on the flow or smoothness of the writing. I tried to fix it. It feels choppy. Do you think the AI angle would work well? Is it too short? Okay, lots of questions. Let me just... Okay, cool. So one thing to consider on the Airbnb example, look up luxury apartments and houses to see how they describe them. Yes, this is a super important, but also incredibly easy thing to do. If you want to sell something, go and take a look at how other people are selling that same thing. People, especially if your product is not a new product or brand new or unique, there have been people selling apartments and hotel rooms and even Airbnbs at this point for decades. So go and reference all of that previous work, because at the very least, it's going to give you a baseline for how to talk about it, so you can choose to lean into it or to go a different direction. So for copywriters who fear they'll be replaced by AI, exterminate AI fear. There are copywriters who are still making wallet-busting income without asking AI to write me an email. Here's how you become the copywriter that AI can't replace. Okay. Dear concerned copywriter, right now there are copywriters who are quietly earning wallet-busting income despite the AI pandemic seemingly replacing copywriters. Easily find more high quality clients who value better copy. Upgrade old clients into eager ones happy to pay you more than ever. Never worry about being replaced by AI. We'll share the secrets with you soon, but how can this be? Isn't AI replacing copywriters? Well, the harsh truth is that for some copywriters, AI will mark the end of their careers. Look, we've been helping over 63,000 copywriters for a combined 45 years, and we're here to tell you this is no exaggeration. It's already happening. Some business owners already use AI and call it good enough for them. Why? Because it's cheaper, faster, and less of a hassle than dealing with humans. And history is filled with far too many examples of greedy business owners looking for any excuse to exploit or fire workers. For example, have you ever seen those how it's made videos? Factories are already packed like sardines in a can with automated robots doing jobs that were once done by humans. And guess what? These robots cost a fortune, up to 500,000 USD, and can take weeks or even months to install. Yet they still choose robots over you. Now, how much does AI cost? Pennies compared to robots. And how long does it take to implement? In an instant. It's pure hubris to think these opportunistic businesses won't take advantage of everything possible to replace their lazy and burned out human workers. And that's on top of the fierce competition already among other copywriters. So don't be surprised when we say we believe AI will bring explosive changes to the world of copywriting. And that's exactly why we're here, to help you not get lost in all of this AI fear. Over the next few minutes, you'll discover how a small group of copywriters is being hunted by companies to pay them stacks of cash despite the AI pandemic replacing copywriters. And when you finish reading this page, you won't look at AI or yourself the same way again. We believe copywriters have never faced a threat like AI before. The stakes for copywriters could not be higher. End of lead. Okay. So one, you use the word copywriter way too much. Like, dear concerned copywriter, right now there are copywriters who are quietly earning wallet-busting income despite the AI pandemic replacing copywriters. Actually, we can just do this. Like, you have the word copywriter or some version of copywriter or copywriting 19 times or 18 times in a single page. That's a lot. Like, in terms of flow, in terms of reading, in terms of style, it's a lot. And so definitely like cull that down. In terms of like, does this work? Is this interesting? I think putting or qualifying in the lead is a great thing to do. It's not at all bad. It's going to depend a little bit on your offer, the extent to which you want to do that. But for example, like if you are talking to copywriters here, and so saying copywriters, saying it's aimed at copywriters, or saying it's aimed at like a specific type of copywriters, people who don't want to do the bare minimum and just use AI to make themselves easily replaced. Like, yeah, that's completely fine to say and probably a good thing. A lot of the qualifying we do is like, I don't want to say fake qualifying, but it's sort of like aspirational qualifying where you're like, hey, are you the kind of person who's willing to work hard to make a 7-figure income? Most people are going to be like, yeah. And so you're qualifying in the sense that like you'll have like you are excluding some people, but if you're doing your job and targeting correctly, almost everyone you're speaking to is gonna say yes. So like, you know, you're mostly just talking them up and reminding them of that internal notion that they have about the type of person that they are. So yes, that's completely fine. This is definitely more like a sales letter style than a traditional sales page, which is fine. Given that like presumably this is some type of info product, I think this is pretty typical for this niche. I would definitely not put a CTA at the end of this lead as it is now, because you haven't really gotten into any sort of offer or anything really that's gonna, like, you haven't sold them on anything other than a problem. And so there's nothing for them to say yes to. Flow smoothness. It's definitely a little bit choppy in terms of like the smoothness. Like this whole thing about easily finding more, like these 3 bullets come out of nowhere and there's no context for them. Like if you even just said like, you know, these copywriters are easily finding more clients, they're upgrading their old clients, they're never worrying about being replaced. Like if you said that, then this makes sense. But right now there's like, they just kind of come out of nowhere. In terms of like overall, like the AI angle works, but I think that the way you're doing it is kind of like you're bouncing back and forth between a bunch of different ideas. And so one thing I would really recommend is just like writing down like the main beats for your copy. So like the main story beats. So like, what is the point you're trying to make and what are the points you need to make along the way to get there? Because right now it's like, hey, there are these people who are making tons of money despite the AI pandemic. But you know, AI is going to mark the end of lots of people's copywriting careers. We've helped all these people, and we know that this is happening. Some businesses are using AI. Here's a bunch of reasons why they use AI. AI is cheap, but then like now we're talking about how like opportunistic businesses are, plus other competition. Like it's just a really, really long and lots of different reasons for why AI is a threat. And I don't think that that's something that you need to prove to most people now. I think most people will just believe you if you say that. Like that's a really common notion that people have. So if you're going to do this, I would not start with like this part, because this is kind of like the turn. It's like in a world in which everyone is watching AI and automation and robots like take jobs from people, there's this group of copywriters who, you used a really good phrase, who are being hunted down by companies to pay them a ton of money. Don't you want to be one of those copywriters? I think that idea is actually like really interesting. And then like the notion that you've helped all of those people become those type of copywriters, like that's great. But you need to get like, you can't start there and then go into AI and then try to come back there. You just like start with a problem, remind people of this like looming thing, make them feel that fear, the panic, the whatever. Oh, fuck. Oh, but there's actually a deeper opportunity in this if I'm willing to become one of the people who learns to take advantage of it. It's like a classic technique in these types of sales letters. So I think you could do that, and that would be really strong. In terms of like shortness, yeah, it's too short, but it's also like you're not really moving the story along much. You're just listing lots of different reasons. And so you really do want to like map it out and think, okay, point A, which leads into point B, which leads into point C, which leads into so on and so forth. And so when you're setting up this problem with AI, I would do a lot more embellishing to really make it real and make the threat that people feel seem logical and like something they should actually take seriously. And then you get into but there's actually the secret opportunity. I would just go take a look at some classic financial sales letters, because most of them do this incredibly well. And you could more or less just like swipe the format that they use for this. But yeah. Yeah, cool. Next, sorry, let me check this real quick. Yes, of course. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, cool. Thank you for your patience. So next, this is a value email sent to a warm list to build hype around AI voice agents, replacing more people. So sending this as an AI company. The reader is the traditional business owners who are thinking about integrating AI. Topic is how voice agents can help with customer service. Goal is get them to try a demo call with an AI agent. Cool. Cool. So subject line, complaints about your customer service. I love that subject line. First off, who wrote this? Value email. Morgan. Great subject line. So first name, if you go on Trustpilot right now and skim through recent reviews, you'll notice one theme shows up more than anything else. Customer service. Common complaints include, I was on hold forever. The rep was rude. They kept transferring me to different departments. Sound familiar? If you've ever gotten similar feedback, just know it's not your fault. There's only so much your teams can do. They're not superhuman. They can't be available 24/7, stick to the script every time, stay calm under pressure, or handle dozens of calls at once. But AI voice agents, on the other hand, can. If you're considering integrating AI into your business, customer service is when it can make the biggest difference right away. Now, you might be thinking, but aren't robots worse than humans at customer service? Our customers want to talk to a real person. What if it misunderstands the customer? Fair questions. We don't expect you to just take our word for it. So why not try it yourself? You can have a phone call with one of our AI agents right now for free and hear exactly how it sounds. Click here. I'm curious to hear your thoughts after you try it. Just reply this email and let me know. Best, Jude, CEO, Clearface AI. This is cool. I like this. I don't know if it's perfect, but again, like great subject line. And you're using another example, another company like Woes as like a good example. So you get to call them out without calling out your reader, which is great. But then you're still saying like, if they have, you may have heard similar things, whatever. One thing I would think of right now is being topical. And so maybe, or actually no, just in general, it is great to take advantage of things happening in the world to kind of talk up your to make your point stronger. So for example, are there ways in which tariffs or US economic policy is affecting the call centers that people rely on for customer service? If that's the case, then that's a great thing to throw in there. Because when you said like there's only so much your teams can do, my first thought is like, yeah, are your teams even staffed adequately? Is your company trying to cut back on costs because tariffs, you're thinking about how tariffs might affect your business, and so you are having to cut back on how much you spend on customer service. And that's a really, really tough thing because that affects your business. Like that's something you can say right now to somebody, and that's probably something that like the type of person you're reaching out to is already thinking about. And so that makes your point much, much stronger if you bring that up. But as an evergreen thing, like this is cool. I think if there's like something to improve, it's like maybe this part, like after fair questions, I think I would like add like a sentence maybe. Oops, let me do it this way. Just acknowledging like why is it a fair question? Like, until recently, AI agents, haven't they've been talked up to be. And so just acknowledge that there's been a lot of hype around this and that their skepticism is valid. But then you say, like, but this time, we don't expect you to just take our word for it. We want you to right now to give it a try yourself. Click below to hop on a phone call with one of our AI agents right now for free and hear exactly how it sounds. Click here. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, blah, blah, blah. And really all this is just doing is like really like giving the person credit and saying like, yes, like it is fair of you to have these doubts. But this time is different, and just kind of leaning into that, making it a little bit punchier and setting up that click. I'm so sorry. I will zoom in more. Yeah, even stuff like this, like wait times up to 5 hours long. Like when you're getting into those pain points that people are having, like you can really lean into it, because it's not just the consumers that feel that. Those are things that the companies, worry about as well. And so pointing them out, leaning into them, talking about the opportunity is like a really powerful way of getting people to, believe you in your emails, but also take the action that you want them to take. Oops, almost canceled the stream. All right, next one. So this next one is, who is this from? No context. And how long is it? All right, this is pretty long, so I'm not going to read all 19 pages, but so we'll just go until we stop. Calling out coaches, consultants, and service-based entrepreneurs who are tired of spinning their wheels. Oops, sorry, take this off the screen. Pull back the curtains from breakthrough 10x method that turns your business from uncertain to steady, build a following of buyers, and flood your pipeline with consistent clients all within 90 days. This is clunky and doesn't read well. Is like pull back the curtains using the breakthrough 10x methods that turns your business, that transforms your business from uncertain to steady, building a following of buyers, and flooding your pipeline with consistent clients all within 90 days. Less clunky. Finally, get your hands on a game-changing step-by-step methodology that'll supercharge growth for your coaching business and cut through the noise of the crowd. Even if you're feeling stuck and don't know where to start, even if you're not a world-famous expert, even if you don't have any previous experience. CDA, act now before it's too late. Cool. I like this even if thing. It's a cool way to like call out objections early. Maybe you're at a point in your coaching business where you're questioning your decision to become a coach every damn day, right? I would not phrase this as a question. The word maybe here is weird. Like, are you at a point in your coaching business where this is happening? Is maybe how I would frame this. You could also just say, if you're at a point in your coaching business where you're questioning this every damn day, you probably never saw it turning out this way, did you? It's maybe a more elegant solve. Back in the day when you first dip your toes into the coaching water, which is not capital, you've dreamed of a business that would bless you with a life you always want to live, a life where you have complete freedom, freedom to set your own hours, living the life on your own terms, just living life, and designing your day as you want to, freedom to decide what client you take on, freedom, all while creating a thriving coaching business that creates a ripple change in others' lives. But the moment you stepped into coaching, reality slapped you hard in the face. Uncertainty. Okay. So there's a lot of just like grammar stuff here that makes it clunky to read. And so I would say definitely like go back through and just read for that, because it's difficult to read, but also people are going to judge you on it and they're not going to buy whatever you're selling here. And it's a little bit too up in the clouds, I'd say. Like you definitely want some like real grounded examples of like what you're talking about. And so like when you're talking about like reality slapping you in the face, like what happened to this person? Like what's an experience that happened that made them feel this way? Because I'm sure these feelings are true, but like you need to be able to call out like why, so that they know that you're not just like BSing it, basically. You're also capitalizing random words, which is weird. And I think if this is going to be the point at which you reveal your offer or your product, this shouldn't be. It's frustrating when it's frustrating when you know you can transform the world. I'd say it's like it needs to be a bit more of a turn. So something like, but you know you have the ability to transform people's lives, and then that then leads you into the product. I think it's still too it's too much about the dreams. It's not like very grounded. It's just like about like success and selling people on success without talking about like what that looks like, what that means for their lives in like a pragmatic way. Yeah, I'd say that's the main thing. I feel like it's not very grounded. Like it's like too emotional in a way. It's like it's too hyperbolic. It's not saying anything like real. Like anybody could write this about any niche without knowing anything about the niche. And I think and that's a red flag. So I definitely go back and like touch up the grammar, the wording, the weird capitalizations, like make sure it's like reads properly, but also like make sure that you're speaking to like real things that people can look at and be like, oh yes, this person has actual expertise. Because by the time you get to like, okay, well, here's a product, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, but what is it? How do I know you're actually going to get me something I want? And so that's a tough thing. So yeah, let's move on. Next, we have something from Podden. Context. The reader is people who frequently use their voice in their job. The idea is that you need to fix your breath in order to achieve full, nice sounding voice. The offer is community for people who want to improve their voice. The action is to join the community. The goal of the email is to be sent to a warmed up list and generate sales. Okay. So subject line. Okay. Do you constantly speak too quietly? I would consider reframing this a little bit. Like, not do you speak too quietly, but are you constantly being told you speak too quietly? Because as someone who is guilty of this, that is the experience that hurts. Is, I think I sound fine, but then someone be like, I can't hear what you're saying, and then I'm like, oh fuck, shit. And so just reframe slightly to that. Literally 1 minute is all it takes for you to never get the question, can you speak louder? Again, I don't know about you, but it used to frustrate me deeply when people constantly pointed out to me that I should speak louder. I can't hear you. Can you repeat it? Gee, well, I do speak loudly after all. I try to say the same thing again, but louder. What are you saying? Still, no one can hear. Only one thing I got out of trying to speak louder is a sore throat. I don't know. I didn't know this in the past, but 20 years of voiceover did its job, and now I know how to instantly make your voice loud but pleasant. When you apply what I present to you now, the frustrating question, please, can you speak louder, will disappear forever. The reason you speak too quietly is shallow breathing, which completely derails the possibility for a good sounding voice. Now, you may have the most squeaky quiet voice, but I guarantee when you improve your breathing, you will immediately feel the difference. Your voice will become deeper, more attractive, and no listener will ever ask you 5 times to speak louder again. And if you don't have a deep, vibrant voice, and everyone around you has trouble hearing you, it's very likely that your breathing is too shallow. Many of my students have already completed their changed voice just by improving their breathing. Okay, cool. So I'm actually going to stop reading here because 2 things. One is clear. You understand this idea. You understand this experience, and just based off of what you're saying. So I trust that you can kind of make those tweaks around that. The other thing is that you're doing too much in this email. I think we said this for an earlier piece of copy that someone submitted, but your goal here is not to take someone from problem aware all the way through to product aware. It's just to get them to click to the next page. So when you get to, hey, or when it goes from, hey, you have this experience, it's really tough, it's really hard on you, to actually, now I'm going to explain this entire process and why it's so difficult, whatever. You've now removed the need for someone to click to the next page to get the solution that you have to offer them. And so as soon as I read, hey, it's probably because your breathing is too shallow. Now I'm like, okay, well, I could join a community. I could not join a community. But if you end on this notion of like, hey, but there is a thing you can do to get people to stop saying this to you for the rest of your life, click here and I'll tell you what it is. As someone who suffers from that problem, I'm going to want to click. So honestly, like, you could cut off this email like right here, and it is like much, much better. It's also much shorter. So I would like really, really, really just try to like get to this and then get to the click down here. And then your action doesn't need to be, join a community. It can just be, click to find out what the one step you can take is to ensure that no one ever says this to you ever again. Super simple, super easy. The next page can do all of the work of, actually selling the community. Am I frequently asked to repeat myself? Yes-ish. I mean, I've gotten better at it over the years, but my natural voice is like, yeah, I'm like this. I'm kind of mumbly, kind of whatever. Like, I don't project a ton. I'm very guilty of the shallow breathing, and so it is still a little bit effortful for me to be on stream speaking, projecting, whatever. So it's much more like in casual conversations I'll have with people that comes up, but in this role at work, it's not as much of a thing. But yeah. Next. Let me see. Will this load? No. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Someone posted this in Figma. Okay. Okay. So is there context for this? No. So this is a page. Improve yourself with Oren and Saren, your new allies. Oren and Saren are AI companions that want you to thrive. They text with you in a fluid, natural way and remember all your conversations. They can help you solve your problems, talk about your feelings, become more productive, or just chat about anything. Try Oren for free, no bank card required. Download. Cool. Tired of AI that agrees everything? Okay. I think the main thing I would kind of poke at here is like for this headline, improve yourself is very vague. And so I would think about like what is the way of saying that is gonna, one, be more clear, but two, really resonate with people. And so like my inclination is to lean towards something like, yeah, become your best self or something like that, where it's like the improving yourself is like not just about being better, but it's about like reaching something or achieving something, and just really being clear about that. Because I think if you say become your best self, and then it's these are AI companions that want you to thrive, that makes sense. Versus like improve yourself and they want you to thrive. Well, we could all improve ourselves in some way, but sometimes improving ourselves comes at the cost of like our mental health, or is stressful, or involves us not thriving for a period of time as we learn to overcome things. And so just making sure that this connects really well, like with what you're saying here, I think is the biggest thing. Oren, caring, generous cheerleader. Once you feel safe and accepted, happy to talk about your feelings. Cozy side, cool. Natural texting, your very own. Would make this your very own thing more clear. This is a testimonial. We love this. Thrive. I think this is interesting. To be like very transparent, I haven't really dabbled much in like the AI companion stuff, and so I don't have a good sense of like objections or what people are thinking about when they're kind of going for these things. This stuff seems pretty good. Describing what they are is great. I think up here, before I would get into the always with you thing, I would have a section that talks about like that really is clear about like how is it helpful to have AI companions in your life. And so maybe like some combination of like this, the symbiosis thing, and like the thriving thing, where it's like with these guys, like you'll improve your understanding of who you are and who you are, what you want from life, and how to get it. I think like this is very clear. And so if you put this up here, these things are then more like just like cool features from that you get from the AI companion, but this is much more about the spirit of why someone should even want it in the first place. Testimonies are good. Frequently asked questions are good. But yeah, Otherwise, cool. I mean, if you have like specific questions, like feel free to like ping me in Discord and ask. But yeah, like seems fine to me otherwise. Man, a really old school sales letter. Thank you, Avery Clark. So ex-jail inmate guarantees to give you inhuman grip strength and vein-mapped forearms, or he will pay you $394. It's funny. I think ex-jail inmate is a little bit redundant. I like how it sounds, but there's probably like a sexier, scarier, freakier way of saying this that you could punch it up a little bit. But the rest of it is like cool. I do think that there is a little thing though about saying going from this guy guarantees to give you inhuman grip strength and vein map forearms to dear friend. Like tonally, it's a little bit off. Maybe just think about it. It might work. Dear friend, let me ask you something personal. Ever shake hands with someone important and feel their grip crush yours? Remember that split second when you both knew who the stronger man was? I do. And I was on the wrong end of the exchange more times than I care to admit. Look, I'm going to be straight with you. Most men today have pathetically weak hands and forearms. It's not their fault. Modern life has made us soft. But here's the thing. Your handshake tells people exactly what kind of man you are in about 2 seconds flat. Weak grip equals weak man. That's how most people see it, period. When was the last time a woman commented on your forearms? When did someone last look at your hands and think, this guy is powerful? Never? Yeah, I thought so. But what if you could change that in just 15 minutes a day? My humiliating story and how it can help you. How long is this? This is, okay. My name is Matt, and on October 15th, 2011, I woke up in a jail cell with a toilet paper roll for a pillow. That's a great sentence. The night before, I got my ass handed to me in a fight at my own house party. This wasn't supposed to happen. I could do weighted pull-ups. I worked out religiously. I looked strong. But when it mattered, my gym strength was useless. Sitting on that cold concrete floor, I remembered something I'd read about, short steel bending, a forgotten technique that supposedly built terrifying grip strength that regular workouts completely miss. After getting suspended from college, thanks jail time, I had nothing but free time. So I drove to the hardware store and bought everything I could bend with my hands. For months, I bent nails, bolts, horseshoes, even frying pans. My hands were constantly bruised. But something amazing started happening. My grip became impossibly strong. Veins began popping out of my forearms, and people started treating me completely differently. The real test came 6 months later when troublemakers tried forcing their way into another party. One crushing handshake was all it took. They backed down immediately. That's when I knew I discovered something most men will never know. Why your workout makes you look strong while leaving you weak. After years of research, I discovered what I call the progressive strength gap, the real reason men keep getting weaker despite regular exercise. Here's the truth fitness experts don't want you to know. Regular workouts target surface muscles only. They look good in the mirror, but have zero real-world power. Gym exercises never create the brain-to-muscle connections needed for real strength. This is why some skinny old farmer can outwork a muscular gym rat any day of the week. Modern workouts completely ignore tendon strength. And tendons, not muscles, are what give you that crushing power that makes other men respect you. These spring-loaded grip trainers are worthless after the first week. They don't engage the deep forearm structures that create those impressive vein map arms that scream power. This is why you can bench press 300 pounds, but still have a handshake like a dead fish. That's why your forearms don't have those impressive veins that signal true strength. It's why most men accept becoming weaker as they age. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. The exact system that will transform your grip in 60 days, or you get double your money back. I've developed what I call the calibrated tension system, a revolutionary approach to building the kind of grip strength that makes other men nervous. Here's how it works. 1. precisely calibrated steel bars, each one manufactured to exact specifications, creating a perfect progression path from beginner to freakishly strong. 2, micro-step progression. The difference between levels might just be 5%, but this constant challenge forces adaptation that regular workouts can't touch. 3, deep tendon activation. Steel bending creates a unique stress pattern that targets the deep forearm connections gym exercises completely miss. 4, whole body power. Unlike isolated exercises, bending forces your entire body to work together, creating real functional strength. 5, physical proof of your progress. Each bent bar is a trophy showing your growing power, something you can actually show people. Want proof? Listen to these regular guys. My hand and grip strength went through the roof. The bars definitely helped turn your weak hands into some manly ones. Now, after bending the shit out of it, I feel like my grip has gotten stronger. Short steel bending hits those hard to reach spots in your workout and develops your grip strength and forearms, as well as some surprise spots you wouldn't think of. The 60-day steel bending trial that will transform your hands and forearms. For a limited time, I'm offering my complete system on a risk-free 60-day trial. Here's what you get. 75 precisely calibrated steel bars, 25 for your first month, and 50 more for your second month. 2 pairs of professional hand wraps, protect your hands while building calluses. Free SSB branded t-shirt, show your commitment to real strength. The complete steel bending guide, my step-by-step system for perfect form, and direct text/email support. Yes, I personally answer your questions. You'll notice results fast. Your grip will tighten, veins will start popping on your forearms, and people will notice the difference. Every bar you bend becomes physical proof of your growing power. A guarantee so strong, it's almost stupid. Here's my promise. Try the steel bending system for 60 days, just $197 up front. If you don't develop noticeably stronger grip strength, if your forearms don't start showing more definition, if you don't feel more confident when shaking hands, if you don't get at least one comment about your forearms, I will not only refund your full $197, I will pay you an additional $197 as my personal apology. No questions asked, no hoops to jump through. Why such a crazy guarantee? Because less than 3% of customers ever ask for a refund. Once men experience the satisfaction of bending steel and see the changes in their forearms, they're hooked. Warning, only 20 spots available this month. Because I personally inspect every steel bar, I can only accept 20 new steel benders each month. Once those spots are gone, you'll have to wait. Every day you wait is another day of weak handshakes and unremarkable forearms. Most men continue getting weaker without even realizing what they've lost. Don't be one of them. To secure one of the 20 spots available, visit www.shortsteelbending.com. Remember, this isn't just about stronger hands. It's about reclaiming a fundamental aspect of masculinity that modern life has stripped away. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll develop the kind of strength that commands respect, turns heads, and becomes part of who you are as a man. To your strength. Matt Armiger, founder of the Short Steel Bending Company. P.S. My double your money back guarantee means zero risk. If you don't love the results, you get $394 back, $197 more than you paid. I only offer this because I'm 100% confident in what steel bending will do for you. PPS, if you're thinking, I'll try this later, ask yourself, when was the last time you actually came back to something you put off? The men with the most impressive results all have one thing in common. They took action immediately. Okay. I mean, yeah. This is, I'm not gonna lie, this is fantastic. Like, they're, from like a copywriting perspective, this is absolutely fantastic. The guarantee is really smart. The tone hits will hit for the target audience very well. Really, really good build from like the story. There's lots of like dog whistling in here, stuff like the modern life, masculinity, respect. Like, it's making this about something deeper than grip strength, which is a very powerful tool for persuasion. I think you progress through the letter really, really well. You went from the story to like the deeper lesson behind the story to, how you made this thing, how the thing works, what you get, what the offer is. Like, this is good. Like really the only thing is just that like in 2025, most people are going to be viewing this online. And so instead of having a link to the website, I would just, have a button. Like you would be having like buy now buttons, invest now buttons. Like, the CTA would be in here, not like I go to the website. Is this even real? It's not even real. Oh, it is real. Leaderboards. Yeah, I mean, super cool. I mean, if this is not like a real product, you should make it one, because I was like, oh man, I would consider buying that. So like, yeah, fantastic sales letter. Who wrote this? Avery Clark. Thank you. Okay. So got 3 more. Cool. 1 second. Oof. Cool. Okay. All right. So Ireland website copy for critique. So this is website copy for an Irish education consultancy company that organizes unpaid Erasmus Plus work placements for European high school students who want to gain a work experience working at an English-speaking company in Ireland. Okay. So target audience are employees at agencies in Europe who get in touch with this company on behalf of schools in their respective countries. So it's like B2B. This company acts as the middleman between work placement providers and those agencies. The idea is all-inclusive work placements, transport accommodation, and 24/7 support guaranteed. Pain points is that transportation's hard, low quality of accommodations, poor work placement provider, needing peace of mind. So web copy, cool. So your all-in-one solution for Erasmus Plus work placements. No more guesswork. We deliver the most comprehensive work placements and training programs in Ireland, tailor-made for your school or organization, with accommodation, transport, and 24/7 support guaranteed, alongside our extensive network of vetted trained partners across Dublin. Agencies and educators come to us when they need certainty. This sentence is a little like long. It like grammatically it's fine, but might consider breaking this up a little bit. Okay, cool. I'm not going to be like too anal about like grammar stuff, just because I know there's a lot of like UK, US, English differences. So I'll trust you on that. So work placements and training programs for students without compromises. Our vast network of highly trusted work placement providers across the enchanting city of Dublin ensures that we can offer your students an incredible opportunity to improve their English in a real, stimulating, and rewarding work environment. With placements available in a diverse range of sectors, your students will develop indispensable skills, build their confidence, and boost their CV, all while being immersed in English and experiencing a true taste of Irish culture. Never fret over finding a high-quality accommodation again. Our programs provide placement with carefully vetted host families and accommodation providers, all inclusive. Bid farewell to transport troubles. Along with providing air transport, we always aim to place students in accommodation close to their work placement provider, guaranteeing peace of mind for both them and you. Seeking an extraordinary, authentic cultural experience for your students? We can arrange a variety of thrilling excursions for you, ensuring your students don't miss out on the lush landscapes and spectacular scenery that the Emerald Island has to offer. We're always by your side. Our 24/7 emergency helpline guarantees that help will always be at hand. Feel certain about a transformative, culturally enriching, and worry-free work placement experience for your students. Get in touch with us now, and we'll take care of the rest. It's pretty good. I think you definitely address all the pain points that you listed in here. This is the kind of thing where it's a little bit tough to kind of evaluate without seeing it like designed up a little bit, but also like, what does outreach like this look like? Or because I imagine that for like most of the actual business you'd be getting for this, it's going to be the result of like direct partnerships with these agencies. And so the web copy is like great and fine, but are there other pieces of copy that need to come off of this that would be a little bit easier to critique? Yeah. But yeah, the writing's good. It's clear. You're speaking to all the things you're addressing up here. And so it feels successful to me. So good job. Okay. So this is the image for the post. Cool. So context. This person runs a coaching program called The Rebuild, designed for men who work behind a desk and struggle with consistency and weight loss. They're from the UK and work with people from Scotland, mostly. Cool. It's aimed at their ICP. 30-ish men who have desk jobs, has a history of starting and stopping weight loss attempts. Feels like they don't have time. It's followed random plans online with little success. Okay, cool. The objection that they're tackling is that it's not your fault. You were just following the wrong plan. So the core idea is that most plans aren't built for men with demanding jobs. So they showed how they get results with just 3 sessions per week, focusing on boosting energy and testosterone. I initially made this post short and punchy for LinkedIn, especially since it's a Thursday and people aren't likely to read long form content midweek. I also trimmed a lot of fluff to keep it tight and clear. I went back and changed this a few times, removed a good bit of fluff. Please be brutally honest, as I would rather straight feedback. Thanks for your time. Have a good day. Cool. So just zoom in. Ever tried to, what am I on? I'm on. Ever tried to lose the gut only to quit a few weeks in? You probably blame yourself. I see more discipline. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. But here's the truth. Most plans don't fail because you're soft. They fail because they weren't built for your life. Most fitness advice is made for personal trainers and influencers, 25-year-olds who recover overnight, guys with 10 plus free hours a week. Not for men in back-to-back meetings, dads with drop-offs and deadlines, and guys running low on energy and high pressure. That's why I coach differently. 3 sessions per week, gym, home, or long walks, built to work with your schedule, not against it. Here's what one client messaged me after 4 weeks. I hit every session, overate 4 times, and still lost more weight than ever. And the best part, his wife noticed his energy was back. And that's when it clicks. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to fit your life. P.S. Not ready to message, DM trade. I'll send you a quick audit of what's stalling your progress, my testosterone levers checklist, a 30-day custom reload plan, no fluff, no pitch, just value. This is cool. I think this right here, for all of like everything you do, this idea should be at the center of it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just fits your life, because everything you're talking about here really fits under that. And if this reader that you're talking about up here is your primary audience, like this is going to resonate because it's a way of acknowledging like gains or progress without like setting the pedestal perfect. So this is like a really smart thing that I would hope that you will keep in mind for everything you do going forward. In terms of like how this like progresses, let's see. I wonder, like, first of all, the third period there. Is losing the gut the primary thing for people? Is it more about like weight loss, or is it about like feeling better? Like, what is like the dream state for people? If it is just like losing weight, then like sure, this works. But I think going from this stuff into this is smart. And instead of saying like they failed because they weren't built for your life, I would consider like an alt version of this line. It's like they fail because you have a life. Because of like all the stuff you're getting to down here is like these people, like for these guys, like fitness is their job. For these guys, it's like, you know, you just have a luxury or whatever. Like you can just focus on this. And these guys, it's like you have nothing but free time. So of course you can get in shape. But for like your target audience, like, you know, they have good reasons for not being able to dedicate time to working out. They're in meetings. They have to take care of their kids. They're like in these high pressure situations, which means that they don't have a ton of energy. Like this is like what having a successful adult life looks like. And so instead of saying like, oh, they weren't built for your life, kind of like has a little bit of like loser pity energy to it. But this is like taking like an affirmative stance and saying like, no, you're in a really good fucking place. We just have to learn how to like fit in this other thing with all the things that are going well for you. And I think that is a thing that we like very rarely talk about when it comes to men, but probably also just adults in general. Like in fitness, it's like, yeah, you can go to the gym every single day, but like most people don't have time for that. They don't have the energy for that. That's not a priority to them because they have things that are far more important. And so taking a stance as part of your brand and saying like, look, this is not, I'm not just some like influencer, personal trainer, whatever. I train people who have real lives that they're happy with. Is like a really powerful positioning for you to take. And so I would consider this as like something to lean into. All of this stuff is true. And so this is really good. 3 sessions per week. I would like speak to like flexibility here. Oops, that's not a lot. Is like flexibility of location. Obviously, you're talking about flexibility with scheduling flexibility, but like, you know, sometimes it's really hard to get to a gym, get to whatever. And so you be able to come to their home, meet them at the gym, go for a walk, you know, that's a really important thing too. Like in other pieces of your copy, you could say like, yeah, drop your kid off school and then we'll go for a jog around the neighborhood. So you can be back in time to pick them up or from like football practice or whatever. There's so much stuff that you can lean into if you are kind of looking at it from the lens of like, how can we make this work for your life? And so then instead of saying like one client, you say something like one like working man, one accountant, one, you know, whatever like represents a good, fulfilling life. Yeah. This is a cool little nod. I appreciate this a lot. And instead of saying like, that's when it clicks, I'd say something like, because that's the real like lesson. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to fit your life. This is a cool little thing you add at the bottom. I like this just to kind of like reduce like the friction. Like, hey, I'll give you something for free. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Overall, I think this is like pretty cool. It reads well. You're hitting on some like real fucking shit, and that's like fantastic. And I think that that level of authenticity and honesty and credit that you can give to your audience is a really, really powerful tool, not just for credibility, but also just for like building that relationship. And it's like also taking a step back even further, like there's a really positive message that we need in the world where we're so bombarded with like Instagram influencers and like these people with these perfectly sculpted bodies. Like you kind of feel bad if you aren't at the gym every day. You feel bad if you aren't, you don't have like perfect six pack and huge biceps or whatever, when really like it's not fair to compare yourself to those people. And so this is great. And I can imagine it's doing well, and I hope it does well. So yeah. If you would like to submit your copy for review, you can do so by signing up at patreon.com/thecopythatshow, where we have an option for you to get your copy critiqued. You also get access to, I think, some Discord channels and some fun stuff like that too. So feel free. And if not, that's also cool. All right. This is the last piece of copy we have. We will have done like 14 pieces of copy today. It's a lot. This one, I guess we'll read this email. All right. Subject line. Let me see if there's context first. Nope. Okay, cool. So subject line. Shh. 99% of content creators are still unaware of this. Be the first to know and use the crap out of it. Hey, name. Lately, I've seen so much hate on AI taking over social media. How it can truly leave content creators jobless within the next 6 months. But is it really the end of us? Well, some say it is beyond the shadow of a doubt. Some say AI will never replace our ability to effectively communicate with others. That's why today I'm going to reveal the best unfair advantage to slaughter your competition while everyone else is scared to death. I'd say like your AI competition. Before we dive in, let me tell you how you can exploit the power of AI and use it to print $10 a month as a content creator that everyone loves, brings valuable content, and actually enjoys what he does while getting work done the fastest and the easiest way possible. This $10 a month seems small. This feels like a small number. What 97% of creators fail to realize is that AI is a power machine, and it's only there to be exploited. We creators are at a point where AI does everything for us, from creating priceless content. Our engaged fans look forward to writing attention-grabbing bios, descriptions, titles, you name it, it does it. There's absolutely nothing it is unable to do. Is it bad or a good thing, though? I'm glad you asked. It can be either, depending on how you use it. See, the worst mistake you could be making now is actively relying on it. If you're letting it do everything, you're learning nothing, and your skills are stagnating too, meaning that you'll never be able to get paid or even demand a pay raise because no one will want to hire someone that can be replaced by AI at no cost. That's exactly the trap I fell into at first. But I'm here to give you everything you need to know so you avoid the money-breaking mistakes I made. For that reason, I created the SCBK framework, a step-by-step formula that's all about taking you from a decent content creator to strategically capitalizing on AI while still learning high-paying skills. That way, you increase the likelihood of getting hired and making money by a whopping 48%. And here's the thing. So what is this number based on? As with anything, the moment little-known secrets become common knowledge, the game is over. So if you want to waste no time and use the shit out of this unheard of method, fill out this form and discover how you can use it immediately on your profile. I'm talking as fast as tomorrow. You have nothing to lose, but all to gain. Stay creating, Luke. P.S. The link is going to expire on May 1st. Be one of the first action takers to discover this secret. Okay. This is kind of all over the place. I feel like you the main thing for me is like I don't get like you're talking about AI, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. It's going to take your jobs, but also people are relying on it, and it feels like you just kind of need to pick one thing, because when you make every single argument, it starts to get blurry what the reader should focus on. And so, if the thing is like there are ways you should leverage AI to make your skills more valuable, and to get high-paying jobs, like that idea, sure, that works. But you need to just like have everything flow into that and not kind of talk all over the place. There's also like a separate idea is like, and someone else used this earlier, is like there are people that AI will not be able to replace because the things that they do is are so valuable. And so there's like, use AI to do the things that AI is good at so that you can spend your time doing these high valuable, irreplaceable tasks that make you lots of money. Is another way to look at that. But yeah, I mean, I would just go through this again and really think about like, what is the one thing that you want to say, and then just make that super, super clear. And yeah, this is the last piece of copy. So we are done for today. Thank you all for joining me for this. I love these Fridays. This is always tons of fun. If you would like to get your copy reviewed on one of these, you can go to patreon.com/thecopythatshow and sign up and get your copy reviewed. We do these usually once a week or so. And great way to get practice, great way to get your copy seen, and also just a great way to learn. So thank you guys for coming, as always. I'll catch you guys on Discord and YouTube and other places. Peace.